People thought that was a fad, and it's here to stay. But you know, moreover, like that journey for me and understanding how important it is to be fulfilled, you know, I really took an understanding, you know, my Forrest Gump journey from working in the internet, Silicon Valley, raising millions of dollars, being the CEO of the world's first smartphone. Right. I look back on my career and I almost want to call bullshit on myself. Right. You know, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, right. Like, how did a twerp like you play football in college, or how did you become a millionaire? You know, right out of law school, coming from nothing, right? Or how did you become CEO of the world's first smartphone? Or how did you run Lee Steinberg Sports Entertainment? Or how do you have your own TV show?
Do you have an answer for those?
Yeah, because I keep my point of entry open and I'm positive. Like,
that's good.
I have a belief system that goes beyond. I tell a story. I rarely tell this, but I'm going to tell it on your show.
Awesome. Thank you. What's happening, guys? Coast to Coast Studios. I'm your host for Behind the Grams, where we jump to some of the stories and motivations and inspirations behind what we do as creators, artists, entrepreneurs, business owners, anybody in general chasing a dream. Today we have David Meltzer. I want to thank you very much for your time.
Oh, that was a great introduction, man. I was in Aubrey Marcus's office and he jumps on a trampoline to get his energy up. Yeah. You just like turned it on in 2 seconds. Boom. That's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I feel it's a big thing about the energy, and people can tell when you're passionate about something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's truly the lessons that I've learned through my journey, is understanding that pursuit, right? Like what we seek. And it's so important because I don't think enough people understand how we proactively can allow things to happen by pursuing or seeking what we want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which to me is the truth, and the truth in whatever it is that we want to be. Yeah. And so many people take the wrong trajectory towards that potential or towards that truth. They take a trajectory which is motivated by the wrong emotions, emotions generated by the ego. Yeah. And so when you're on the wrong trajectory, you actually think about this being your potential and truth. Yeah. And when we're going towards it and pursuing it, there's no resistance, right? There's nothing between. But what happens is people take the wrong trajectory through emotion, through ego, and they go away from it. Right? They go away from their truth when you're angry, frustrated, anxious, fear of loss, right? Need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, all the different needs of the ego. Yeah, those emotions take over, and what do? We go away from what we want. What does this do? It creates resistance. Void, shortages, obstacles appear in our life. We put faith into the wrong things, faith into the emotional aspects of what we don't want, instead of seeking the seeds that have already been laid through the energy that you're talking about. Therefore creating all types of, or manifesting all types of successes, fulfillment, purpose, passion, and even profitability.
Absolutely. I very much agree.
And in 2007, without asking anyone, I leveraged it and bought a ton of real estate. And so by 2009, I was bankrupt. I had lost everything.
Went back and took stock in myself and saw that there was these 4 values, mostly taught by my mom, that were missing, that lost the radical humility that made me successful.
The first is gratitude. May sound simple, but gratitude gives you perspective.
My past all of a sudden wasn't so great. My present wasn't that good, and my future wasn't bright anymore. And I'd lost gratitude.
Just because how you were thinking about it.
Yeah, my perspective.
I very much agree. Let's jump right into Behind the Grams. Can we introduce who are you? What do you do? Where do you come from? And what?
Exactly, man. I am the best motivational speaker you've never heard of. That's okay. No, you know, I'm blessed. I was born broke. Great blessing, single mom, extraordinary mother, so another great blessing, extraordinary siblings. Very, 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 very happy growing up in Akron, Ohio. I was born there. But the only time I wasn't happy was when we didn't have enough money for food, car, fixing stuff.
The struggles.
Yeah, so I decided, gosh, if I could just make a lot of money, I'd always be happy. Yeah. It's a little different than people that are motivated strictly by like, hey, I want a Ferrari, I want a big house. I just...
You were thinking above and beyond that.
Yeah, man, I just wanted a house for my mom. Yeah, I wanted a house for my mom and a car for my mom. And through a variety of keeping my point of entries open, you know, from journey of wanting to be a professional football player, which died in college when I played there, to wanting to be a doctor, which died when I realized you had to be in hospitals to be a doctor, and I hated hospitals, to being a lawyer, which died when I made the choice after law school, instead of being an oil and gas litigator, to sell legal research online, to keep my point of entry open, and 9 months out of law school being a millionaire, buying my mom that house, the car, paying off the law loans. And that journey is where, to me, my life really got interesting, is when I had everything I wanted.
Absolutely.
Because took me 10 good years, but I realized that you always have to have a pursuit of your potential. I was pursuing up until I bought my mom that house and the car, and then I was maintaining, I would say. I wasn't really understanding the blessings that I had, and I was, instead of expanding, I was shrinking because I was losing my gratitude for everything I had. I definitely lost my forgiveness. I lost my accountability, and most importantly, I started pursuing things in the wrong direction, creating resistance, void, shortages, obstacles. Instead of pursuing my potential, I was focusing and putting faith on what I didn't want in the world: blame, shame, justification, living a low energy. And sure enough, I had tremendous successes, beautiful wife, children, over $100 million on paper, and managed, while I was CEO of the most notable sports agency in the world, Lee Steiner. I have an incredible Forrest Gump-like career where I get out of law school, my mom tells me the internet's going to be a fad, and I make millions in the internet. I go to Silicon Valley.
She mentioned that, and that's funny to look back on, because I'm sure it looked like it was going to be a fad, but not knowing that was our future.
And I look for that today, like so many things, like esports, right? I was Meta World Peace, and I invested in Splice, a great esport team, and people thought that was a fad, and it's here to stay. But you know, moreover, like that journey for me and understanding how important it is to be fulfilled, you know, I really took an understanding, you know, my Forrest Gump journey from working in the internet, Silicon Valley, raising millions of dollars, being the CEO of the world's first smartphone. Right. I look back on my career, and I almost want to call bullshit on myself. Right. You know, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, right. Like, how did a twerp like you play football in college, or how did you become a millionaire? You know, right out of law school, coming from nothing, right? Or how did you become CEO of the world's first smartphone? Or how did you run Lee Steinberg Sports Entertainment? Or how do you have your own TV show?
Do you have an answer for those?
Yeah, because I keep my point of entry open, and I'm positive. Like,
that's good.
I have a belief system that goes beyond. I tell a story. I rarely tell this, but I'm going to tell it on your show.
Awesome. Thank you.
Because I think this is the epitome of my life. I went to law school, and my uncle, who helped support me to go to law school, he co-signed my law loans, which was pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big
family support behind that.
Yeah, because I was going to quit, and he told me, unless you're going to invest in yourself, what are you ever going to invest in? Well, at the end of my first year, I wanted to go study maritime law in Greece, and it was at that time an extra $2,500. He was furious with me because I was going to borrow an extra $2,500, and I understood he was co-signing it. But like, my belief was, you know, I'm going to borrow 100 grand to go to law school. What's 102.5? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to pay it back. I'm a man of my word. I would shovel poo with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, to make sure I paid my debt and keep my word of my own. Especially my uncle, who did so much. But anyway, so I go to Greece. Studying in Greece, I'm in Spetses, and my buddy, my roommate in law school, he's very wealthy, but he gets tickets to the Bolshoi Ballet in Athens. So I take an overnight ferry, I leave my classes, and we end up getting there, and the tickets fell through. So he and I were like, we'll sneak in. So we walked in with the orchestra, and I actually walked in, cut across the stage, and snuck into the Bolshoi Ballet. And I met a couple beautiful women, came back to school late. So my professor, he wasn't the nicest professor, but a great professor, Professor Force. I came back and he said, you two turkeys missed school, you know, what happened? We were worried about you. You know, there's no cell phones back then, I'm old. And I told him the story. And in front of everyone, he thought he was going to embarrass me. He's like, Mr. Meltzer, I just have to tell you, you are so full of shit, right? And I looked at him, and this is truly the epitome of my life. It is sad when my reality surpasses your imagination.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times in my life, why people may think, God, that can't happen, or there's no way this can happen for him or me, is because my reality surpasses their imagination. And like people dream of running Lee Steinberg, right? People dream of having their own TV show.
There's a difference between dreaming and acting, you know, on those dreams.
Exactly. And so I think, you know, I've always had, you know, that type of entrepreneurial spirit where I can materialize through inspiration. You know, I can think of what I want, it's a possibility. I can think of why I want it and become truly inspired and enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of that. But then I can allowing through discipline, strategy, and awareness, my probabilities now become my reality.
Wow.
And people are still dreaming of less than I've achieved.
Absolutely, that's amazing. That's amazing. And now you have that memory to look back on and kind of reminisce. That's great. I feel like, you know, it seems you have found out that money isn't happiness, you know, and it takes a lot to figure that out, and it takes going through your whole life pursuing money to think that you're going to be happy, to find out that that's not where you find it.
Yeah, and people ask me all the time, do you think you have to have money to realize it doesn't buy happiness? And I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think about, I used to tell people, don't buy a Ferrari because it doesn't make you happy. It's a pain
but everybody wants to find out by themselves.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, you know, anybody could know unless you own it yourself. And so, I will tell you this about money, because I still pursue money. My motto is make a lot of money to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun.
It opens up opportunity, absolutely.
That's it, man. It's options, right? So for me, why in this pragmatic world that I live in this Newtonian physical world that I live in the construct of 24 hours, why wouldn't I want a lot of money?
Absolutely.
It buys so many different options, better education, better health, better experiences.
It can help people.
Well, that's the main reason for it, right? Is to provide more value, expand myself, increase my own vessel, or being in receivership, allowing me to understand. What happened to me when I lost everything was that I wasn't a victim ever. You know, even growing up poor and my oldest brother passing away, all the different things that happened to me. I was abused as a young child, whatever it was, I wasn't a victim. I believe things happened for me.
Yeah,
like everything was a miracle and a lesson. But where it took on a whole nother level was when I started realizing things don't happen for me because there's only so much of me.
Yeah.
So I was overflowing because things were happening for me, but I never expanded to handle it all. So when I got things, I wanted to buy more things that make me happy, different things that make me happy, more of different things that make me happy. But when I started proclaiming my life, living in faith, allowing everything to come through me for others, knowing that I didn't know what I had until I gave it away.
Yeah.
The true materialization of physics is not only to have a witness, but it's to release it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I live in release, I live in receivership, I live in, you know, the true manifestation of monetization and materialization by allowing everything to come through me for the benefit of others and creating value.
Yeah, it's all about the most valuable currency on this planet is the effect you have on others. You know,
exactly.
So it's then creating value and opportunities for other people to grow.
And you can't have an impact without being inspired yourself.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of inspiration, who's one of your inspirations, or some of your biggest inspirations?
Some of my biggest. So you know, I'll start with the dead people in that frame book. So two of them. You know, I love Disney. I love Einstein. I love, of course, Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Power of Attention. Napoleon Hill is a great inspiration. And then today, you know, the inspiration that I have in social media, it's Gary Vee.
Yeah, I love that guy. I've seen you on his show also.
Yeah, no, he's a friend, and but you know, I take, now that I'm older, I always have mentors or inspirations. Particularly, it's like I always tell people, you know, just because someone loves you doesn't mean they give you good advice.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, you know, Warren Moon, he's an inspiration to me about the majesty of calmness, right? And so, you know, Cynthia Kersey is, for me, an inspiration on philanthropy and how, like, literally with a seed of an idea, how you can impact thousands and thousands of people. Bob Proctor, another inspiration to me of how you can, like, truly live your life in manifestation in a pragmatic world and inspire, 84 years old, inspires thousands of people and still, you know, in pursuit and passion and profitable and purposeful. So, you know, a lot of those individuals inspire me. Ray Lewis, who's on my podcast as well, I found him extremely inspirational. I'm still touched. Sugar Ray Leonard, Danica Patrick, you know, these people in their own way are extremely inspirational to me, and then most inspirational in my life forever will be my mother and my wife. Both saviors, God sent angels to me that have shown me unconditional love, support, kept me without ego, in a radical, humble state, so that I can be of service, and have always given me the support in the high times, but even more so when the challenges.
Your confidence.
Yeah, they're there. Both very strong women in my life, and I'm blessed. And now I have 3 daughters that hopefully look up to both of them and can move in the same direction.
Are your kids and your wife and your mother some of your biggest motivations that keep you driven every day?
You know, I don't attach my inspiration to any particular person. So I find that my inspiration is sought upwards first.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people, they're religious or not, and people ask me, oh, are you this or that? You know, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I don't want to define, because I don't want to close anyone off or be separate. I don't believe that, you know, I believe we're all one, and I believe you should be inspired. So for me, what inspires me is that faith in the truth and oneness, and because those people that you mentioned, my wife, my mom, my kids, are most relative to me, that I believe if we're one, there's only one person that you truly have to love, as long as that love goes through you, and stay inspired, and that's you.
Yeah, yourself.
So yeah, I got to be inspired, and then I can allow that to go through the most relative people, from my wife to my children to my siblings to, you know, the outer community to even the whole world now. And I'm blessed to have a platform that reaches the whole world, and every day hundreds of thousands of people and millions of people, whether it's a podcast, a TV show, or just my following, you know, are inspired by the lessons that I'm receiving from the inspiration I have. Things come through me. You know, I have no genius. The genius is the ability to know that no tree has any branches, that would one branch go to war against another. No, I look for the similarities in the oneness of everyone, and to do that you have to be grateful, forgiving, accountable, and inspired.
Absolutely. Have that balance of ego and humility.
Yeah,
it's very important.
Very important. It's very difficult.
Gratitude to give back and be grateful for what you do have.
Absolutely.
Totally. Some of your goals. Let's talk about short-term goals. 2019. It's a big year. It's coming up fast. What would you say are some of your goals for 2019?
So I'm a little different, because I set my goals every day. Number one goal is to stay in business. Right, I have very simple,
keep them broad,
and for me the overranging goal for 2019 is to make a ton of money, help a ton of people, and have fun via the enjoyment of every day consistently and persistently without quit, the pursuit of my potential. And in my potential, what I do is I choose, depending on the day, balancing the values for that day, what I need, whether it's my personal values are primary, or my experiential values are primary, or my giving values, or my receiving values. My health is number one, right? I'll take a minimum of an hour a day for my health. Then comes my family. So I spend a minimum amount of time for each of my most relative family members, and I want to pursue that every day. And then work-wise, I want to stay in business, allow my business to evolve. I also want to continue with my daily prayers, which include, but aren't limited to, you know, may God put 10 people in front of me I can help. I always say thank you before I go to bed and when I wake up, and I challenge other people to do that for at least 30 days, so it becomes a part of you. It's the easiest way to change your life. Also really want to continue to learn, really research more in 2019.
Constant self-improvement.
Yeah, you know, there's so much information and data. I want to access it. I love meeting, you know, individuals, and being accessible to other people as well. That's why I have the 5-20 rule, where, you know, I know a lot of people want to do and spend more time with me, but I try to be as efficient as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the 5-20 rule? 5-20
rule is every phone call of mine, my objective is to keep it to 5 minutes. So I can have 12 phone calls an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then every meeting or interview, try to keep it to 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I can do
keep it efficient.
3 or 4.
You want to help as many people as you can.
Yeah, challenge yourself. You know, like get the messages across, get the point across. And what's funny is you still can get emotional attachment to people, a connection between people. even if it's a short amount of time. And so, you know, I look at my life, be a better student of my calendar through productivity, being most productive, efficient, effective, statistically successful, but also accessible. I want to be more accessible to more people and also be able to access, through my own due diligence, research, and expansion, more information, more readily, more efficiently. So productivity and accessibility through all those things.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What would you say is your perception of living life to the fullest?
That pursuit of the potential. You know, if I can see progression, I don't need perfection, but if I can see progress every day towards my potential and be able to choose what potential that is, right? Sometimes I focus on my potential as a husband. Sometimes it's as a father. Sometimes a community member, a world leader, an author, a producer, an actor, you know, whatever it is, a friend. These are all important potentials that I want to live up to. Intellectual scholar, an emotional scholar, you know, a spiritual leader. All these different things. If I could just, you know, have that pursuit, which gives me purpose, which gives me and maintains my passion, and of course, I'm very good at monetizing that. So the profitability provides more options to do more of the above.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you could say one thing to really inspire somebody that's chasing their passions, what would you say?
God, it's so simple for me, and it's be kind to your future self. And the way that you're kind to your future self is do good deeds. Just do good deeds. I mean, be kind before you're right. It's such a simple thing to have a consistent perspective of being of value, of service. And if you have any questions, I'll give you 2 easy questions to be kind to your future self. Number 1, how can I be of service? And number 2, do you know anyone that can help me? If you can handle those 2 questions, you will do good deeds, and most importantly, you'll be kind to your future self, and every day you'll have progress, not perfection.
That's amazing. David, really appreciate you giving me your time. Again, I'm Coast to Coast Studios, your host for Behind the Grams, where we jump to some of the stories, the motivations, and inspirations behind what we do as creators, artists, entrepreneurs, business owners, or in this case, David, thank you again.
Empathy is forgiveness. And guess who we have to forgive? That's right, ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves because we can't give what we don't have.
The third thing was accountability. If you're going to screw up big, you got to be accountable for it.
2 questions to ask. What did I do to attract it to my life, and what am I supposed to learn from it?
Always good at communicating to other people, inspiring other people. But what I realized was I had to learn to be inspired all the time.
But if you live your life in inspiration, your possibilities all become probabilities. I started creating a void for the universe to fill. Just by being of service and surrendering. I still was working up at 4, down at 11 p.m. I was of service to my wife, to my children, to my community, to my business. And I just opened this huge void, and then I'd ask the universe for what I wanted. So I could give it to people. I stopped saying, God, things happen to me, I'm a victim. You know, you did this, living and not accountable. Things are happening to me. Then I transitioned to things are happening for me. I started being of service. I live in the favor of the universe. I live in the favor of God. I surrendered. Now I live in a world of more than enough. Everything happens through me. And more keeps coming. I'm just a vessel to be of service, to help others. And I stay inspired. I enjoy the pursuit consistently, persistently of my potential. Live in a world of more than enough. It's simply through gratitude, empathy, accountability that you can have more than enough, you can live more than enough, and you can give more than enough, simply by being of service. My life's mission is to empower others to be happy. And I'm extremely grateful for this time. Thank you so much.